Hello and welcome to The Little Simple Life, a podcast about living your most intentional, inspiring life. I'm Amy, 30-something mum of two living just outside London. These podcasts are love notes from me, sharing the things I know I would want and sometimes need to hear. In these episodes, I'm going to delve into what it means to walk a different path, from educating our children outside the school system to living in a small home by choice, surrounding ourselves with a life of intention instead of living a life of default. I welcome you to come on this journey with me, to open your heart and mind to a different way of living. I hope you find what you are looking for with the words of these podcasts, and I hope they speak to you in your own unique way. Hello guys, and welcome to today's episode. Last week we went into detail about my balcony, creating a balcony space, creating a balcony garden where you can grow produce. And today I want to talk about allotments. Balcony gardener to allotment gardener. That is me. So, in the middle of the pandemic, I decided I needed an allotment. So, I signed up, joined the list, and then I waited. And luckily, it only took 1 year. Now, we live in a small home by choice, as you know if you're a regular listener, and we have absolutely no intention of moving. There are a number of reasons for this, but most of them lean towards finances, not wanting to push ourselves beyond our comfort level, and actually having money left at the end of the month for savings and to live the life we desire, and not constantly reaching for the next bigger and better thing. Slowing down, living with less, being more intentional about the life we live. As I shared last week, we have a beautiful balcony garden and it's absolutely thriving, and we've created it into the perfect space for our little ones to play and grow. As well as our little balcony paradise, we're surrounded by open countryside, and there are plenty of ways that we can spend our time outdoors. With all of this, and on the back of a wonderful growing season on our balcony, we are so excited to start work on our allotment. We've had a wonderful growing season every year we have lived here, each year bigger and better than the one before. And even though there are many things that I can grow and have attempted to grow in my balcony space, this is really going to help us grow more and help us work on being a little more self-sufficient, which is a huge goal and is a huge part of slowing down and living more intentionally. Living off the land is a huge goal of mine. Like I said, we applied for our allotment in October 2020. We got offered a space to see an allotment in October 2021. And we've been so incredibly lucky that spaces at our chosen allotment have come up very quickly. We have quite a few allotments around us, so maybe that's why, but it only took a little over a year between applying and getting the key for our own space. Now, I know this isn't the case for everyone, and I've heard of some councils having waiting lists of up to 10 years, so I'm feeling very grateful that this wasn't the case for us. So we had two options in our allotment when it came to picking our patch. One was a square plot which hadn't really been tended too much and was full of fruit bushes that would have really needed to be pulled up or moved to create any kind of growing space close to what we desired. The other plot, and the one we've ultimately gone for, was a long, narrow plot, which had always had a fair amount of growing on there. Although the chosen plot still needed a lot of TLC, this plot was definitely in a better position for being able to create the kind of plot we wanted, and also being able to achieve some of our little plot goals quite quickly. We viewed both at the same time, as they were both at the same allotment, and it was really difficult at first to, visualise which one was the better option and one with more potential. Thankfully, after choosing the plot I did, I can really see that this plot was the right decision for us. We've had the plot now since October of 2021, and we have done quite a bit of work on there already. We inherited quite a lot of produce, and we were lucky that we were able to use most of that and compost the rest. And do you know what? It filled us with so much excitement, hope and anticipation of what the future of our plot might even look like. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of work to be done. Although we inherited a lot of produce, we inherited a lot of weeds, grass and nettles. It looked a bit like waste ground, but we're already making such progress and we can see spaces opening up that are going to be amazing for us. We've made a lot of plans and a lot of them will involve the children and their home education. But we're also passionate about growing our own food and moving away from this mass consumed food where we can. We live adjacent to a very wonderful farm shop. We're very lucky in that sense. But we are really passionate about growing our own food as much as we can and participating in natural food sources and stepping away as much as we possibly can from the horrendously processed food industry. Our very first task was to install a small fence. Having 2 children, 3 and under, means that working on allotment is a little more difficult, especially as we're trying to keep our children on our little patch. Of course, when they're older, they'll understand they can't just run off to roam in other people's patches, but for now, I want to keep them where they need to be. We installed a very small, low fence that is just right for keeping them in without looking too obtrusive. In fact, it's a PVC coated wire fence, and because it's green, it's actually quite difficult to tell that it's there, so it doesn't take away from the entire look of the plot. It's an edging fencing, so it's just over 2 foot high, but it's perfect for keeping toddlers where they need to be. We secured it with some chicken wire poles, some garden pins and cable ties, and hopefully this will keep it secure for a while to come. It has done well so far. Next, we cleared and moved our compost heap. We had a huge compost heap, a double compost heap, but it was right in the middle of the plot and it really didn't lend itself to the kind of plans that we had for the allotment. So we headed there in the new year and we moved it. And we did well. I think we did well. Over 2 days, we managed to pull apart the old compost heap, which was made of pallets, rebuild it at the far end of our allotment and move a lot of the compost. It was a lot of work and maybe even more work because I had a 20-pound baby on my back in the ergo carrier. But we did it and I'm really pleased with how it looks. It's going to enable us to be able to work the plot from top to bottom without having to do anything fiddly around. And we also started laying out our first beds too, just for an idea. But yeah, I'm really pleased. It looks really good. We've also been laying out all of our beds so we know kind of now where everything is going to be, what will be a bed, what will be a path, and we have also laid out space for the base of our shed and it is looking good. It's finally like we can see the plot coming together and that feels really good. So we're thinking about what size shed we want, a small decked area, a mud kitchen for the little ones, potentially some cold frames, and also a small raised bed for the children that they can do some growing in too. I really plan for a lot of our home education to take place at the plot, especially in these early years where being outside, nature and play is of utmost importance to us. And I know I need to organise a shed soon. I just can't seem to get myself in gear to get it done. So what are the grand plans for growing on the allotment? Well, I'm quite easygoing and I'm happy to see how everything pans out. But the things I want to grow at the allotment are different things than what I want to grow on my balcony. My balcony, I want to grow things that are things that I can grab for food at home. Salad stuff, tomatoes, lettuce. I want some strawberries up there, rocket, maybe radishes, maybe some peppers. The allotment I want to be a lot more focused on different kind of growing. I want to grow things like cabbages and beetroot. We're going to grow beans. We want some fruit bushes, gooseberry bushes, raspberry bushes, maybe some blackberries. I might do potatoes. I want to do some carrots. There is so much I want to do. So I'm still in the planning stages, but I expect to have finalised that sometime soon. You will, of course, find out all this information if you want to. Just follow me on Instagram at Life on Plot 44 because that's where I'm going to be sharing everything. I'm really enjoying documenting it on Instagram actually, and the reason I chose to have a separate account for it is that I feel like it's very niche, and I think it would be fantastic to really document it, to see where it started, how we're getting on. We are not pro gardeners by any stretch of the imagination, and moving from a balcony to allotment is kind of overwhelming, but all the fun is in the learning, and I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I hope it was a wonderful deep dive into the beginnings of an allotment gardener. I don't know what I'm doing, but there is so much joy in the learning, and we can't wait to see what this next growing season brings for us. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and please, if you have time, leave us a review, a rating, a comment, because it is so helpful in helping this podcast grow. Thank you so much for your time, and I will catch you in my next episode.